One thing I love is when I get questions and emails from my subscribers letting me know some of the issues that they're having with their hair. And they trust me enough to ask questions. In this Ask T series, I will be sharing some of my questions, so enjoy. Okay, Nezzy writes in and asks, so how do I lock in moisture so that it stays in my hair? This is a very good question. We are learning that adding moisture to black hair is one of the most important things that have been overlooked, and lack of moisture is one of the biggest contributors to short, shoulder length black hair. There's several ways that you can lock in moisture, but I'm going to recommend two techniques that basically sums in everything else. Okay, first of all, I'm going to start with science, because everything that someone teaches you to do to your hair that is effective is in some way based on science. So let's go back to how the hair deals with moisture. Now, your hair is a protein. You have the outside layer, which is a very important part of the hair. It is the cuticle layer, which is basically protein overlapping, trying to protect what's inside the hair strand, which is the cortex. You know, you have a medulla too, but no one seems to know what that does. Basically, you want to soften that protein so that the hair strand is flexible and it doesn't break. Now, you can add moisture to your hair all day, but if you're not doing it intelligently, that moisture will leave your hair just as quick as moisture leaves a cup of water on a counter, if not quicker. So you want to at least start with a water-based product, because that's going to penetrate the cuticle, because your hair has water bonds. You know, and those water bonds are going to be immediately penetrated, and they're going to become flexible, which is great, because when your hair is flexible, it can move and not resist the sway of an object. It's not going to break, it's going to bend, you know what I mean? So also, when you add that moisture, that's the first step. The next step is you want to coat the hair. Okay, now generally the hair, it has everything it kind of needs in terms of protecting itself. Like, for instance, your hair has cuticle layers that are supposed to hold that moisture in. And if you have a healthy cuticle layer that has all its protein and it's overlapping and locking in that moisture, you should have no problem holding moisture in. But a lot of times the pH of your hair products are off. The temperature of with the substance you're putting on your hair is off. Or, you know, you're just not, your cuticle just isn't closed. So those are the things that can really contribute to if your hair is going to hold on. Now, you can use techniques like the L.O.C method, which I love because it's based off of science of hair and how hair handles moisture. It's saying add the liquid first, which is the water. Then you go to the oil, which is, you know, oil is just basically a barrier. Okay, because your hair needs moisture, but oils are there to create a barrier into, so if your cuticle layer is not closed or your cuticle layer is not healthy, meaning it's porous, that oil will sit and fill those holes in. And then you have the cream. You have this cream and oil. They almost can go together because they both do the same thing. They're sitting on top of your hair. Now, yes, there are some creams that are water-based that still can moisturize your hair. And some people prefer just to use one thing that does it all, that moisturizes, oils, and, you know, coats the hair. That's very possible. But the thing I like about the L.O.C method is it's kind of reiterating the idea of locking moisture, and you're really making sure you create a barrier so that your hair, so that the moisture that you just spent time placing in your hair does not just go away within 3 hours or so. Okay, that's the L.O.C method. It consists of liquid, oil, and conditioner. So it's almost like the oil and the conditioner are like super barriers in a sense, because really you only need one or the other. But if you add both, you just create an even more protection. But do not be surprised if you end up with very oily hair, because you're using oils and butters to just coat that hair strand, and it is effective, but it will sometimes leave you with oily hair. So I personally like to use the L.O.C method at night, just so that by the time the morning comes, I just lightly mist my hair, and I know my hair's absorbed most of that moisture and it's at a good moisture level. If you do the L.O.C method during the day, you will end up probably with greasy hair. Now, if you're not a big fan of greasy hair, there's also another, a scientific way to lock moisture in, which is using pH. Now, that's another thing that's highly overlooked in my opinion, because it's a little bit extra. It's an extra step. Now, first of all, you can purchase pH strips from Amazon.com, and they have like the 100 pack for like under 20 bucks. Okay, and those will last you a while. But I do use pH strips whenever I use a acidifier. Now, an acidifier is basically something that helps to bring the pH of your hair products or any substance down. The common acidifiers people use to balance the pH of their hair is apple cider vinegar, aloe vera juice, and lemon juice. Those are just three of the different substances you can add to any hair product that will help bring the pH down. Now, when you get these pH strips, the first thing you want to do is test the products. The proper pH for hair is a 4.0 to a 6.0. If you measure the pH of your hair product and you find that it's a 7, then you can add an acidifier like aloe vera juice or apple cider vinegar, and you can add those to the substances or to your favorite hair product and bring the pH down. You mix it up, just add a tablespoon. Do not add more than that if it's an 8 to 16 ounce bottle. You know, I usually always add just a tablespoon. That gets me more than enough that I need to bring my pH of my hair products down. Now, let me give you a quick warning. If you choose to use aloe vera juice, be careful. It does expire. So I tend to use apple cider vinegar more often than not, mainly because I don't want to deal with the expirations. So you make the choice, whichever one you want, but you can choose between those three. And if you're going to use one of those, you put it in your hair product, you mix it, and then you test the pH. If the pH of your hair product falls between a 4.0 and a 6.0, you will notice that your hair curls more. You'll notice that your hair may even stay moisturized longer. There's a reason for that. It's science behind it, because the cuticle is 9 times out of 10 closed. The only time you may have an issue where your hair is still just not holding moisture is if you have porous hair. And porous hair, you definitely should use the L.O.C method. I wouldn't even waste my time with pH, because if your cuticle is damaged and it has holes in it, and moisture is going to escape through your hair. So you need to go and take those steps to coat the hair strand so that it has a barrier. You add that oil, you add that conditioner, and it's gonna make the moisture very difficult for it to leave very fast. It can last you for days, because if that cuticle is closed, it's very difficult for the hair to become dry again, because it's locked in that moisture. Those cuticle layers are folded over, you know, and that moisture is underneath them, just sitting there until you absolutely need it, which can take a while. But if your cuticle layer is open a little bit like this, it's easy for moisture just to leave it and absorb. You know, you're going to notice your hair is dry. You decide. You can test out pH on your hair. Some people do one side of their hair using one product, another side of their hair using another product, and then see which side lasts the longest with moisture. And sometimes that's the best way, and the only way sometimes, to really know which way works best for your hair. So I hope this has answered your question. My 2 favorite ways to lock in moisture is the L.O.C method, especially if you have porous hair, and pH and balancing pH within your hair products. If you guys have any questions concerning pH balance or locking in moisture, or if you're struggling with extremely dry hair, just write me a comment. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope this is helpful. Please share your ideas and thoughts and advice with Nessie, and I will be talking to you guys soon. Bye.